是的，
他
能这样子的。
你们懂这个？
I'm going to level with you now. Anyone who has escaped communist China, Russia, Cuba, or North Korea can see the writing on the wall. In 1963, the communist goals to overthrow the United States were entered into congressional record. They stated, capture one or both of the political parties, infiltrate the press, gain control of key positions in radio, TV, and motion pictures. After this election, it's pretty clear these goals have been achieved. And the more you look into it, the more you see that all roads lead to China, or more specifically the Chinese Communist Party, the CCP. Guess who owns a massive chunk of Hollywood, including AMC theaters and legendary film studios? You got it, the CCP. Guess who pays millions of dollars to mainstream newspapers, including the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times, to publish their propaganda? The CCP. And guess who's given the Biden family billions of dollars? Yes, the CCP. Now do you see why Biden is the media's darling? On the contrary, who's been the biggest thorn in the CCP's side? Who stood up to their abusive trade policies and slapped them with billions of dollars in tariffs? Who dismantled their stranglehold on manufacturing and brought American factories and jobs back home? Who stopped the pillaging of U.S. intellectual property? Who put serious penalties in place for violating religious freedoms? And finally, who had the guts to call a spade and rightfully point a finger at the CCP for concealing a virus that has crippled our entire world? President Trump. Now do you understand why they hate him so much? They've been coming after America, coming after you and I for decades, and their plan was basically complete. That is, until President Trump got in their way. Right now, we're in a battle for our republic. The enemy is already inside the gates. Even those we thought we could trust have turned on us. They're not fighting with guns and bombs, no, but with words, ideas, and narratives. Because what they're fighting for are our minds. In 1956, communist leader Khrushchev said, "We will take America without firing a shot. We do not have to invade the U.S. We will destroy you from within." I hope you can see now that the invisible enemy is communism, and the most deadly virus is the Chinese Communist Party. It sneaks into a country through the vices of corrupt politicians, businessmen, and people with power and influence. It rips through cities and towns, bodies and minds, leaving no stone unturned, no soul untouched, and a trail of death and destruction in its wake. It sows its seeds by convincing us that lies are truth, evil is good, and hatred is love, that division is unity, and that our enemies are each other. Man versus woman, rich versus poor, black versus white, left versus right. It takes root when we feel helpless, afraid, and alone. It erases our history and slanders our forefathers. and teaches our children to hate themselves, their families, and their country. It ridicules our beliefs, undermines our values, and attacks our way of life. It even demands that we kneel down in shame. But we will not be ashamed. It can't pull the wool over our eyes anymore because we know who we are. We fought to escape tyranny. We bled to end slavery. We revere the brave men who died to secure our freedom. We welcome people of all races and religions. We love our neighbors. We help the poor. We cherish our families. We work hard for what we have. We unite in times of hardship. We know good from evil and truth from lies. And we know that our rights don't come from the government, but from God. And we will fight to the death to protect those rights. The time ahead is critical. We, the people, need to call upon our president to defend us from enemies, foreign and domestic, and uphold his oath. For the time being, we still have free press and free speech at our fingertips. But if we don't grab hold of them now, we'll lose them forever. Independent, honest media companies like OAN, Newsmax, and the Epoch Times will guide us out of the darkness, while mainstream media will only drag us further down. It's time to stop giving them our money, our attention, and our minds. Unlike their Facebook pages, unsubscribe from their emails, unfollow them on Twitter, delete their apps, and stop visiting their websites. Support the countless patriots who've gone through hell and high water to get this information to you. Like their content, subscribe to their channels, share their videos, spread their message. Stop using Google search. Google is censoring every result and robbing you of your right to know the facts. Start using DuckDuckGo and compare them. You'll be shocked. Get off Twitter and Facebook and switch to Parler. Join millions of patriots who have already turned their backs on these toxic companies who dare silence our voices. Join the millions of patriots who are standing up and rallying across the country, demanding justice and rejecting communism. Our enemies snuck in during the night and tried to use the media to lull us to sleep while they stole our country. But instead, they awoke the sleeping giant. We see them for who they are now. And they'll never be able to fool us again. They tried to trigger a great reset, but instead, they triggered a great awakening. We will not look back 5 years from now and tell our children that we did nothing as our nation was stolen. We will tell them that we fought for and won our freedom just like our forefathers in 1776. America is the last bastion of freedom in the world. We are the only remaining threat to the CCP virus. If we fall, the world will fall. But we will not fall. It's time to stand with our founding fathers and to invoke the power of we the people and the power of God. We are the patriots.
刚执政才不到10-20年，就搞了一个1960年。
自共产邪魔执政以来，华夏生灵涂炭，民不聊生。大饥荒时期，多少同胞食不果腹，命丧九泉；多少鲜活的生命变成累累白骨。
叫3年难过的日子，大饥荒，几千万人死亡。 所以说共产党就知道这个棋不沾血，这个权就不稳，所以他经常要杀的人，什么8964啊、大跃进啊、香港啊。
中华大地从来不缺仁人志士，那些冰冷的铁皮之下，隐藏的是共产幽灵的懦弱卑鄙、残忍暴力。你的坦克能碾压过年轻学生的躯体，却永远不会让那追求民主的魂
满出去几百个亿，中国银行啊，你北京银行啊，你民生银行啊，你招商银行啊，你就是一诈骗银行啊，犯罪银行啊。
在共产党邪魔的残暴统治下，老百姓命如草芥。为了维护独裁统治，掩盖罪恶真相，无数人被凌虐致死。
雷阳和他那个同学，他们无意中撞见了杨澜和王芳和孟建柱他们的所有的偷奸事件，还有他知道了元宝井的钱是被孟建柱、孙立军、吴森给拿走了。东北出去的赵勇，现在在老挝、缅甸一带搞赌场的，往外洗钱的事实。所以那一天，他不是被搂脖子护喉死，他也一定会死，下的就是格杀令。
What truly matters is not which party controls our government, but whether our government is controlled by the people. For too long, a small group in our nation's capital has reaped the rewards of government, while the people have borne the cost. The establishment protected itself, but not the citizens of our country. That all changes, starting right here and right now.
Everything's absolutely horrible. Everything's blocked off. Yeah. Well, it's what you know. If you block one street in DC, it fucks up every.
riots in Portland and Seattle and various other places, that was a real problem, what they said. But they've analyzed my speech and my words and my final paragraph, my final sentence, and everybody to the T thought it was totally appropriate. Okay, thank you. Sir, will you expect to be impeached?
罗马姐，视频
Patriots,
有
let's
点
talk about the
小，你把
corporate
您
media
电脑
and
开成最大声
information
好吗？
warfare or propaganda. Big tool they use is polling. Fake news polling, not mistaken polling, mind you, fake polling. Let's specifically look at the state of Wisconsin. Just a week ago, Washington Post and ABC News put out a poll, and let's make sure that we realize these are major platforms, okay? This is the Washington Post of Watergate fame. It's also owned by Jeff Bezos, the richest man in the world. ABC News, top-rated newscast in America. They put out a poll that said Biden was going to win Wisconsin by 17%. Now, to get this number correct, we have to move the decimal not once, we have to move the decimal twice to get in the vicinity of what's actually going on in Wisconsin, because right now the current actual is Joe Biden up by 0.6%. I say current because we have not accepted that as final, and there will be a recount. But the more important takeaway here is that this is not just a mistake. This is disinformation. This is propaganda meant to suppress the Trump vote, meant to depress Trump supporters in Wisconsin. This is willful. This is a decision to try to put their thumbs on the scale. So we need to be aware of it, and you need to be incredibly skeptical during this contentious time in our country of anything that you hear from these legacy media platforms like the Washington Post and ABC and like Fox News and AP trying to get you to believe fake news that Arizona is decided.
I get calls from my father to tell me that the New York Times is calling.
对，应该是闭麦了吧？
Who literally has done me harm for I don't know how long is the one taking the calls because my father will not stop sending the calls to Eric. I have another New York Times reporter calling about my representation of the literally Dr. Patrick Koh, the fucking
是现场的电流声吧？感觉刚才。
Who started the company that my partner
至少现在没有了就好了。
擅长是什么鬼
？Founded and is now missing. The richest man in the world is missing. Who was my partner?
你耳朵里面塞猪毛了吗？我说的是现场，现场，听懂没
？$1 million apartment and signed a $4 billion deal to build the fucking largest fucking LNG port in the world. And I am receiving calls from the Southern District of New York, from the U.S. Attorney himself. My best friend in business, Devin, has named me as a witness without telling me. In a criminal case, and my father, without telling me.
Patriots, let's talk about the corporate media and information warfare or propaganda. Big tool they use is polling. Fake news polling, not mistaken polling, mind you, fake polling. Let's specifically look at the state of Wisconsin. Just a week ago, Washington Post and ABC News put out a poll, and let's make sure that we realize these are major platforms, okay? This is the Washington Post of Watergate fame. It's also owned by Jeff Bezos, the richest man in the world. ABC News, top-rated newscast in America. They put out a poll that said Biden was going to win Wisconsin by 17%. Now, to get this number correct, we have to move the decimal not once, we had to move the decimal twice to get in the vicinity of what's actually going on in Wisconsin, because right now the current actual is Joe Biden up by 0.6%. And I say current because we have not accepted that as final, and there will be a recount. But the more important takeaway here is that this is not just a mistake. This is disinformation. This is propaganda meant to suppress the Trump vote, meant to depress Trump supporters in Wisconsin. This is willful. This is a decision to try to put their thumbs on the scale. So we need to be aware of it, and you need to be incredibly skeptical during this contentious time in our country of anything that you hear from these legacy media platforms like the Washington Post and ABC and like Fox News and AP trying to get you to believe fake news that Arizona is decided.
Now remember, the Biden family brought Tony Bobulinski on board to help structure their overseas business deals. These are not people who are good at business. A lot of them have had liens against them from the IRS. They're bad at business. They can't do math. Tony Bobulinski has made a lot of money doing business. So he was a math guy. They brought him in to structure the deals. But it quickly became clear to Tony Bobulinski that they weren't seeking funding for a legitimate business. Watch.
And you can imagine my mouth dropping to the floor when I saw that in August of 2017,
Hello,
remember,
Mr. Bannon.
the Chinese were supposed to be funding Sinohawk at that
Here's
time.
my camera. Hey, Rick.
Oh dear. Can you see Mr. Bannon? I can't.
Who's that?
We can say Bannon.
You can?
Yeah.
Hello, Mr. Bannon.
他那边的声音好像有问题，也听不到我们讲话。
Yes.
Oh dear. Can you hear us, Mr. Bannon?
No.
No, he doesn't have the microphone on.
Oh dear. Hello, Mr. Bannon, we are here.
他的麦克风是通的，但是肯定是没接好。
他不是，他没有戴耳机，他听。
Hello, Zach. It seems that Mr. Bannon cannot hear us.
Going part way. Just open the garage door part way. Control. Can you hear? No.
Yeah. He cannot hear us, but he
hi
can
guys.
hear.
Hi.
Hello, Mr. Bannon.
Hello.
Mr.
Oh,
Bannon.
finally. Okay, great. Okay, you can hear us.
Perfect.
So nice to hear you. So nice to see you. Okay,
Sorry,
finally.
sorry for the press time, but they're going to start the impeachment debate at 9 o'clock.
Okay. All right. So
let's start at 9 o'clock. The vote starts at 10.
Oh dear. So, can we begin now? Shall we begin now, guys?
Sure.
Are we live?
Yes, yes, Dr. Ming, please go on.
Okay.
Castle,
Okay.
please put forward your question, Castle.
Okay, let me say something, okay? Hello and welcome to GTV-UK News. This is Dr. Ming from London. Today is Wednesday, the 13th January 2021. Our topic is the Chinese Communist Party CCP ruins U.S. election. On the 6th January, our team delivered a 5-hour special edition to present the CCP strategy to dominate the world, particularly their interference and the manipulation of the U.S. presidential election. Now, a precise week before the inauguration, we have seen alarming incidents. What does this mean for the result? Has the CCP already won? What can the U.S. do? To answer these questions, our team is going to interview former White House Chief Strategist, Mr. Stephen K. Bannon. Hello, Mr. Bannon.
Hello, Dr. Ming. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bannon. Let's get straight on with this. Castle, you're up first.
All right. Hello, Bannon. Very nice to speak with you again. And I was told our interview was delayed only because Pelosi had named the manager of the so-called impeachment of Donald Trump. I just can't help wondering if the Biden team are really winning. Why are they so desperately starting the second chance of witch hunt impeachment? It doesn't make any sense, and the current term of Trump's presidency have only a week left behind. What is this? The significance of this impeachment.
Hang on a moment, please. It seems that the GTV is silent. There's no sound there. Is that right? Our technician. Are you sure the sound is all right? Hello? Yeah.
No, there's no sound at all.
Or there's no sound at all? Is no sound from our side, or is no sound from Mr. Bannon's side?
Oh no, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah,
I
we
can hear you perfectly.
I can hear you perfectly.
Okay, if you
Hold on
are
a minute.
recording.
我重新再推一遍。
Oh dear. Okay. So
Sorry about that. Seems that
sorry.
there's some technical problem.
The audiences actually they can't hear us at all apparently.
Yeah. So if we start again, do I need to also do the intro?
Can we skip the intro, please?
Okay. So let's go directly. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I think
Okay.
Castle can ask his question first.
Okay.
I've got the. Do you want to ask the question again? Because it was a great question.
Yes.
Oh yes.
I'll stop recording.
So basically, you are watching GTV, right?
Yep.
And so you found there's no sound at all.
Yep.
Yeah, I got the a text message from 1880. Okay, limited time. All right, just get. Zach said just get Mr. Bannon to answer the question. Okay, are we go live? Are we?
Dr.
live
Ming,
now?
they're on
Yeah.
now.
Okay. Castle, please.
Hello, Mr. Bannon. Very honored to speak with you again. I was told our interview was delayed only because Pelosi had named the manager of the so-called impeachment of Donald Trump. I just can't help wondering if Biden and Harris are really winning. Why are they so desperately starting the second time witch hunt impeachment? It doesn't make any sense. The current term of Trump's presidency have only a week left behind. What is the significance of this impeachment? Many thanks.
Yeah, it's absolutely a brilliant question, and here's why. They understand that Donald Trump's not going to give up on this election fraud, and they realize that's calling into question their legitimacy. So what they've decided, and this is kind of the system in town, because you've got Republicans working on this too. You got Mitch McConnell and Liz Cheney. They're trying to purge Trump from the entire political system. What they intend to do today is a rushed impeachment. Normally when we've had impeachments before, they take months and months and months and months to do. Here, it's going to start. It started at 9 o'clock. They're going to start to set the rules at 10. They're going to have debate starting at about 11:30. At 3:30, they're going to vote. So in 3 or 4 hours, they're going to impeach her. They're going to actually vote to impeach a president on grounds that are totally phony. They couldn't even produce the insurrection part of it, so they just got it for he incited a riot. Okay. The second part of that, the details of it, is that they said he falsely went around and accused illegal and illegitimate behavior, which we can prove in each of the states. In fact, the states have sent letters saying that they're very concerned about certain of the processes and they want them reviewed. So this is an open question, and this is what President Trump keeps forcing, and this is why War Room will not give up on this. This is what they're impeaching the president, and you've nailed the most important point that no American commentators are talking about. If Biden and Harris are so confident, if the Democrats are so confident, Pelosi and Schumer are so confident about this, why do they need to suppress any discussion about it? Why do they need to suppress that? The reason is they know in their hearts that this thing is illegitimate and was stolen. And so let me just walk you through the process. They're going to impeach him in the House today with virtually no debate. Unheard of in American history. Virtually no debate. And this is why the Democratic Party, the oligarchs in Silicon Valley, the global corporatists are acting very much like their partners, the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party, right? Exactly the same methodology. This is the way they roll and try to crush people. They're trying to disappear Trump. They've already disappeared him from social media. What they intend to do today is start the process to vote this out of the House, to deliver it to the Senate over the weekend, when there's only a few days left in his term, and they're not going to bring it to trial until after the 20th. This has only been done once before in American history, and that was done around the time, I think, after the Civil War, when a Secretary of War left office, and they tried him in the Senate. After they impeached him, they tried him in the Senate after he left office. What they intend to do with President Trump, the reason they're going to do this, they do not want him to run in 2024. They understand he's already the leading candidate. He would take on Biden or take on Harris at that time and probably beat him. They want Trump to have no eligibility. They intend to try him. They intend to strip him of his Secret Service protection. They intend to strip him of his security clearance. They intend to strip him of his ability to interact with foreign leaders. And particularly, and most important for your audience, they want to make sure that he cannot run again for president in 2024 because he already knows the polls show that he would be competitive with Biden. They just want Trump to go away. They want to, as Dr. Yan has taught the American people, they want to disappear Donald Trump, and this is their method to do it. And this is why the fight begins today. I would love to spend more time with you guys, but I've been talking to people all over Capitol Hill, and at 10 o'clock in the war room, we're going to be going into some hard details of what's exactly going on here. But this is for the GTV audience. This is going to be very dramatic and a very tense moment in American history.
Okay. Castle, would you please ask a second question about social media and mainstream media? Go ahead, please, Castle.
All right. We all know that Twitter suspended the president, and after Twitter, Facebook, Apple, Google, Amazon, and even Discord is censoring Trump supporters. And today, we have seen the president has been suspended from YouTube uploading and turn off the comments. What steps would you like to take to get these companies under control if you were the president? Thanks.
It's a great question. First off, for many episodes, as our Lao Beijing and the great GTV audience and Miles Guo and the whistleblower movement in the new federal state of China, we did many episodes on the Great Firewall of China and how it could be taken down, what needed to be taken, how it needed to be taken down, how American companies were helping to basically imprison digitally the citizens of China, the great Chinese people, and how it was America's responsibility to get these companies to stop doing it. What's happened here is we have a great firewall in the United States. You see, we have a digital firewall. And what they've done is they basically have unpersoned President Trump. Now, my recommendation is that it's a national security problem because he's commander-in-chief of the United States. I would use a national security memorandum to force Facebook and these social media companies to put the president back online. Number two, I would break them up as far as antitrust go. Number three, I go up to criminal charges on restraint of trade, which is a bigger antitrust kind of racketeering, because they all worked in collusion. You saw where YouTube was one day, Facebook another, Twitter the next. It was all done in collusion. So I would be very aggressive with these companies. I would break them up. And in breaking them up, I would force all American technology companies to stop supporting the firewall in China, because now we have a firewall. Now we have a firewall here.
Well, yeah. So in that case, when we talk about the firewall, Daniel, would you like please raise your question?
Hi, Mr. Bannon.
Daniel.
In the last interview, I was honored to ask and got your comments about the firewall, which is the CCP, the evil regime controls. While many call for the tearing down of the CCP's Great Firewall, I'm concerned of what the Chinese people will see when they have free access to American social media and Western mainstream media. The people in mainland China will find this company imposing the CCP style of censorship. If possible, how can we explain this to them? Thank you.
Your guys' questions are fantastic. Here's what it shows, that what we've got to do is, what we have to do is you have to fight for freedom and democracy every day. You see how tough it is here in the United States. Think about the people in China freeing themselves. They're going to have the same problem, not the same problem. You'll have a different level of problem with these tech oligarchs. But remember, here in the United States, we have methods. We can take them to court. We can file for antitrust. We can sue them. There can be class action suits because we still have the rule of law. So that's what we're fighting. But I will tell you, it's a struggle every day. And look, President Trump's the most powerful guy in the world, and they totally unpersoned him. They're trying to disappear him just like the CCP does. So the people in mainland China have to understand we support the deplorables, 1,000% support the struggle for freedom, and we'll always be here with them. But remember, our support of trying to assist Lao Beijing in their freedom is one of the reasons they want Trump to go away, and they want to destroy the deplorables. The world economic system, as controlled by the party of Davos and Wall Street, the city of London, the giant corporations, and the leadership of the CCP, do not want the freedom of the slave labor of China. And they will fight and try to destroy anybody that comes to their assistance. One of the lessons here is that the deplorables who love Lao Beijing and understand that their freedom is essential to have freedom of all workers in the 21st century, understand that a part of this unrelenting assault is by the CCP's allies, whether it's Wall Street, the global corporations, or the international corporations. I apologize. I've got to go because we not just had the show, but I got to make a couple of phone calls to Capitol Hill about the impeachment. But what I want to do is make sure for your audience, we're going to do this every week, and we'll do it from 9 to 9:30. We'll do it in a very organized way starting next Wednesday. And I'm available for GTV at any time over the next couple of days to give you updates of what's going on at Capitol Hill. I would tell every member of your audience, Dr. Ming, that this is some of the most important time in American and world history is going to be the next 5 or 6 days. So everybody should stay tuned.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Bannon. It's such an honor and privilege for us to listen to you. Okay, hope to see you again.
Great questions, team. Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Many appreciate.
Thank you. Yeah. To finish.
对，那什么，那个对面已经断了，我们可以这面可以说了。
可以说话了，现在哈。
对，那个Dan已经把它断掉了。
No, not yet. GTV is still on.
GTV, yeah, we're live. We're still live, yeah. Or shall we stop here?
Okay, are we going to discuss?
I think we can.
Okay, Castle. Castle and Mike. So
I think we can end here. Or I would like to make some even more comments. How?
Yes, please.
Dr. Ming will decide.
Yeah. Okay, please give more comments. Yeah. I think you have something to tell our audience. Please, Castle.
Okay, the first question I asked about Mr. Bannon is about the so-called impeachment. Now we all know that the Speaker of the House, Pelosi, have launched the so-called impeachment, and this impeachment is very similar to the former impeachment, the first impeachment, and this is already the second one. And this makes Donald J. Trump the first person in history that has been impeached twice. Well, both of them will fail, I think. And why do they want to do so? Why do they so eagerly want to do the impeachment? Even Donald J. Trump has only about a week left in his presidency, and which is about more than 100 hours. What can he even do? And we all know that all the Capitol Hill, a lot of those congressmen and congresswomen are turned against Trump. A lot of people have betrayed Trump, just like I don't want to name the person, but we all know. We all know there are a lot of traitors in the Capitol Hill. And why do they so eagerly want to do so? The only possible reason is because Donald J. Trump actually won the November 3rd election in 2020. And not only did Trump won the election, but also the Trump team has all the evidences about the election fraud. We all know about the Dominion system. We all know there are a lot of voter frauds, and a lot of people died. They voted, and a lot of people about 150 years ago, they have years old, and they have voted. And there are also mail-in ballots, and those ballots cannot be actually true because they have all the same signature, and the rejection rate in a lot of states are the lowest in history, and it's abnormal, very abnormal. So the only possible situation is there are massive election frauds, and Biden didn't get the 80 million votes as he claimed he got. So the Trump team is going to release not only the Kraken, but I think massive evidences in the future. And people in the world will see how those Democrats, I'm not anti-Democrats, but I want to say there are election fraud. And after people saw those evidence about the election fraud, they will turn against all these Capitol Hill, the swamp. I think they will turn against the swamp, and Trump will eventually win. This is why they are so afraid of Trump even now. And the second question is very much related to the first question. And we all know Twitter suspended Donald J. Trump and his lawyer Lin Wood and Sidney Powell and even General Flynn suspended their Twitter a week ago. And after that, Donald J. Trump tweeted with the U.S. government official Twitter account, which is POTUS, President of the United States. And immediately Twitter deleted that tweet. And Donald J. Trump is forbidden from tweeting something else. And after Twitter have been doing that, we have seen Facebook taking down all of those
GTV Live ended. GTV Live ended.
Oh dear.
Well,
why is that?
Dolma姐.
I'm actually okay with it. I can do this all day long.